Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duckbricks and welcome to another Top 10 LEGO video. So for today's feature topic, we're going to be looking at LEGO Bionicle and checking out the top 10 rarest and most expensive standard retail Bionicle masks. Now these are masks that appeared in official Bionicle sets. They were not misprints, not promotional releases, really just any mask that appeared in a standard Bionicle set. What are the top 10 rarest ones going off of the current Bricklink prices? Now I will say that typically the Bricklink mask market, especially for Bionicle masks, does tend to go up and down on trends. I will say, however, that when they go up, usually all the prices go up, and when they go down, all the prices dip. So there may be some shuffling back and forth here and there with this list, depending on what time you're actually watching this video. But as of right now, as of the time I'm recording this video, this is 100% accurate to the top 10 rarest and most expensive standard retail Bionicle masks. And so let's just jump right into things with number 10.
Alright, so starting off with number 10 here, we have an entry from one of the more recent years of Bionicle, well, comparatively recent, the dark blue recolor of the standard Great Ruru from 2007. This is a very special piece because it is one of the only recolors of the standard Toa Metru masks, and basically the only one if you don't count slight differences in transparent blue plastic for the Rao. You see, the Ruru, which was Wenua's mask, originally came out in black for Toa Wenua. However, for 2007, in the very limited edition Karzani set, the Ruru was recolored in dark blue for the Matoran Idris, who came packaged together with another Matoran Sarda as well as Karzani in the massive Karzani Titan set. The reason why this mask is so rare and sought after is, well, because one, recolors of existing masks are always typically very rare and sought after for collectors in general, but specifically for this particular set, in the US this was a Toys R Us exclusive. It was only sold for about 4 months, even abroad it was only sold for under a year before being pulled from shelves, so this is a very limited set that it came from, which is why the mask is so rare itself. In fact, taking a look at Bricklink, there are no current US listings selling the mask, and the average sold price for the mask is around $53 US. So this is definitely one of the more expensive masks. You're going to be paying $53 for just a single piece of plastic, but honestly, this is kinda nothing compared to what's coming up later. And with that, we can now move on to our next mask. Coming in at number 9, we have the Transparent Clean Kanohi Cow. This is a recolor of the Toa Gali mask, which originally came in some of the 2001 mask packs, which recolored all of the Toa Mata masks. Out of all the different colors of the Cow, the trans clear one is the most expensive and rarest one for the standard Mata edition of the Cow, coming in at an average price of $63 US, with the cheapest US listing currently available on the market coming in at $50. The Kanohi Cow is the mask of water breathing, which allows its user to breathe under the water, as the name would suggest. It also allows its user to have a significantly expanded lung capacity, and the specific trans clear version was used by Toa Kopaka because they were recoloring the masks in the standard Mata colors, but since the Cow was transparent, they decided to use trans clear instead of just plain white for Kopaka himself. There's really not too much else to say about this particular mask, so we can now move on to number 8. And coming in at number 8, we have the quote-unquote movie edition Kanohi Krana-Kal, or the Mask of Shadows, famously worn by Makuta Pterodax and later Makuta Icarax. The average price on Bricklink is $70 US, with the cheapest listing in the US again coming in at $50 US. This mask is notable for being included in only one set, a very rare and limited combo model Takuta Nuva model, which was including both the Makuta Pterodax and Takanuva sets, and specifically the edition of the set that came with the movie edition Krana-Kal. You see, the sculpt of this mask is completely different compared to the other Mask of Shadow molds that came before and after, because it specifically was remolded to somewhat resemble the one as seen in the movie, although to be honest, it's a very loose resemblance. Not really sure what they were going for here, because it's very clear that despite being called the movie edition Krana-Kal, it really is kind of also just doing its own thing. I guess if you squint, it's a little closer to the Krana-Kal in the movie, but honestly not by much. And I probably would refer to a brand new mold which completely gets rid of the original design for the Krana-Kal if they actually wanted to make a movie accurate version. That being said, again, this mask is very sought after because it's an incredibly rare variant of the Krana-Kal, which already is a very popular mask on its own, with the standard version of the Krana-Kal already fetching close to $20 to $30 for just that standard mask on Bricklink. But with that, we can now move on to some of the more rarer masks, and get ready because we're gonna have a pretty long slew of basically the same style of mask. And so we're going to do a lightning round. You see, in 2003, the Bionicle storyline dictated that the Avohkii stole the Toa Nuva symbols, which stole their elemental power, rendering their masks just a dull and lifeless silver protodermis gray. And so, basically, the next few entries are the very rare silver Nuva Bionicle masks, which only were included in certain mask packs. Starting off at number 7, we have the Silver Hau Nuva. Despite being the mask of basically the main character Tahu Nuva, this only retails for an average of $115 with the cheapest US listing being $225. It's just the Hau Nuva but in silver, and with that we can move on to number 6. At number 6 we have the Silver Cow Nuva. The average price is $130 with the cheapest US listing being $150, which funnily enough is actually cheaper than the currently available cheapest Silver Hau Nuva. This again is just Golly's Cow Nuva, which is the Mask of Water Breathing updated, but in silver because it's powerless. Moving upwards, we have number 5, the Silver Akaku Nuva, retailing for an average price of $141 and also having the cheapest currently available US listing coming in at $150. This is the Mask of X-Ray Vision worn by Toa Kopaka Nuva, and again it is silver because he lost his elemental power. And we have 2 more to go. Number 4 is the Silver Kakama Nuva with an average price of $164 with no currently available listings in the United States. This is the Mask of Speed worn by Pohatu Nuva. And coming in for number 3, we have the Silver Pakari Nuva with an average price of $170 with the cheapest listing in the US being $175. This is the Mask of Strength worn by Toa Onua Nuva. Now you may be wondering, there's one mask that's missing from this list, and that is the Silver Miru Nuva, or the Mask of Levitation. Well, the reason that mask is actually a lot cheaper on Bricklink, it's actually one of the cheapest masks out there at only around $3 to $7 is because they actually included multiple copies of this mask in different sorts of combo packs and promotional Bionicle buckets, which basically were readily available to every consumer. So instead of having to go through the blind mask packs of trying to win the lottery of getting these special silver masks, this one you could actually specifically seek out and buy retail. So that's why the Silver Miru Nuva is much cheaper than any of these other masks. But with that, we can finally move into the top 2 most expensive and rarest Bionicle Kanohi masks, which thankfully are a little bit more interesting than the previous few listings that were basically just the different silver Nuva masks. Starting off, at number 2, we have the Golden Kanohi Ignika, or the Mask of Life. Sitting at an average price of $170, currently the cheapest available listing in the US is $350. And this is easily one of the rarest and most expensive masks out there for a few reasons. For one is the story relevance. The Kanohi Ignika, or the Mask of Life, is arguably, if not the most important Bionicle mask throughout the entire story. It basically was the centerpiece of the whole Ignition trilogy. In fact, everything basically surrounds around the Kanohi Ignika. And secondly, this mask only was included in a set that had a very limited release window, Toa Matanui. It was a large Titan-style set featuring Matanui in a much larger Titan skill build, which funnily enough is not actually canon. He never actually got this big, but they basically used it as an excuse to cast the original Ignika mold, which debuted with Toa Ignika back in 2008 in the pearl gold color, which is basically the main golden color it's supposed to be. This again is a majorly significant mask for Bionicle lore, and it's very sought after by collectors, which is why almost every copy has been sold already and why the price is just so expensive. But there is one more mask that made it onto the number 1 pick on this list, and to an extent it kind of breaks the rule because we are putting out a separate video on misprint and miscolored masks as well as promotional masks, where a lot of the much rarer masks actually land. However, this one was technically sort of a recolor, but it wasn't an official one. This is the Pearl Gold Kanohi Krana-Kal, with an average price of $424 and the current cheapest listing sitting at $925. That's right, almost $1,000 for a single Bionicle mask. You see, the story behind this mask is that the Kanohi Krana-Kal was casted in flat dark gold, which was the older style of gold color that LEGO did when Bionicle was doing system playsets back in 2005. However, come 2006, LEGO introduced a new color for gold, pearl gold, which is the color they're still somewhat using to this day. That means that certain production runs of the Tower of Toa set that the original flat dark gold Kanohi Krakon or Mask of Shadows came in were recolored for the pearl gold color given LEGO's shift in their gold mix. And so, a very limited production run of pearl gold Kanohi Krakons were made to specifically fit within those system Bionicle sets, just when they were still being sold in the year of 2006. Given that this was such a limited release run, this easily became one of the most valuable Bionicle masks ever, and certainly the most valuable one that was ever officially sold in a standard retail set. And so while this isn't necessarily a misprint, it's not necessarily the most official color either, which is why it somewhat breaks the rules of this list, but given that you could still just buy it in a standard Bionicle set without it being a mistake or a misprint, I figured it made sense to be included on this particular list. And do stay tuned for that other video coming out in a couple of weeks where we'll go through the rarest promotional and misprint masks because there's a lot more interesting stuff to take a look at there.
Okay, and with that, we have summed up our look at the top 10 rarest standard retail Bionicle masks. Be sure to stay tuned for next time where we'll be actually taking a look at the top 10 rarest Bionicle masks that are not standard retail masks. Stuff like misprints, which were actually never supposed to be released but somehow made it out to the public, and even stuff like rare promotional masks, some of which only one of a kind exist in the world. With that, thank you all so much for watching this video. Let me know down in the comments below, do you own any of these masks? And if not, which ones are ones that you wish you had? What are your favorite Bionicle masks? Thank you so much for tuning into Duckbricks, and subscribe for even more LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon. Thanks so much, and bye-bye for now.